Hello and welcome. My name is Babington-Ashaye. I'm the head of the Global Shapers community at the World Economic Forum. Thank you for joining us. You are joining Shape the World. This is a series of open conversations for people who care about the state of the world and who want to take charge and do something to shape it. Today we are joined by His Excellency, President Paul Kagame, the President of Rwanda, who also believes in this philosophy of engaging with people. Now, you know the rules. Please post a comment or post a question. I don't want to do this alone, and every time you post a comment or question, we will ask the question. He's very open. You're free to also send us some love. That's okay. We'll give you a shout out. Thank you. Now, I want us to get started. Now, Your Excellency, one of the things you said, which really caught my attention, was that it is a myth that there can be social and economic development without civic engagement. I'd love for you to please tell us a bit more. What did you mean by that?
Well, I meant that it's all about people in the first place. When we're talking about development, when we're talking about growth of economies and stability, and everything we say builds on whether you have in mind how people contribute to that, and above all, how they benefit from that.
Yes.
So civic engagement means you're bringing in everybody. You're bringing in the government, you mean bringing in business, you're bringing in the citizen to participate.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. But why is it so important? Why can't you have development without that?
Well, then you have no development, because development is about people, as I said. So if they don't contribute, if they don't participate, how do they benefit? And therefore, what kind of development would that be?
Okay, excellent. Well, that's right after my own heart. We have many more people who have just joined. Thank you. What His Excellency has just said is that people must participate, and you are all participating. It is literally going through the roof. Now, you know the rules. Please post a comment or post a question so that we can move ahead. His Excellency will take any question. We are open. All right, let's move on. Your Excellency, congratulations. You literally just concluded hosting the 26th World Economic Forum on Africa.
Thank you.
Now, I'd like to ask, what does this mean for Rwanda, for you? Why was it important to host this meeting?
It was very important because it connects Rwanda to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world to Rwanda.
Yes.
And between Rwanda and the rest of the world, that's where everything happens.
Yeah.
When you are talking about wanting to attract foreign direct investment, we are really talking about connecting that investment, that capacity outside there for people to invest with Rwanda.
Yeah.
And when we have people come to Rwanda, we are literally opening the books and saying, you read what Rwanda means, from the stability of it, what it has to offer in terms of investments, and the people, and also the stability of the country.
Okay, fantastic. Now, what do you say to people who say, aren't there other more important priorities? Why is this something you spend time on and resources? Aren't there more important priorities? Not just for Rwanda, but even Africa. For much of Africa, there are many other issues affecting people. Why on earth should we do something like this?
Well, there are many priorities for every country, and not the least for Rwanda. And we have learned that you don't just deal with one priority and keep out another.
Yes.
We have found the most difficult part is always to be dealing with so many priorities at the same time, and in fact our own situation has taught us lessons that sometimes there are so many priorities coming at the same time, and you have to deal with whichever one depending on the opportunity available. And for us, this was an opportunity to deal with one of the priorities, and the priorities include connecting Rwanda to the rest of the world. It's a very important priority for us.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right, we literally have another 100 people who joined while you were answering that question. Welcome to everybody. You are joining Shape the World. This is a series of open conversations for people who want to engage. Now, the World Economic Forum believes that by engaging with leaders and helping them to talk and work together, we can make the world a better place. Now, His Excellency believes this too, which is why he has hosted this meeting. The forum also believes that we must engage beyond leaders as much as possible. And so we have the open forum, which we held here in Rwanda, community conversations, which I believe you call Tumve, something like this. His Excellency believes this too. So he's taken time out of his schedule to engage. Now you have to do your part. Please send us comments or questions and he will answer your question. All right, Your Excellency, you talk about connecting Rwanda. Now on the theme of connecting, from your perspective, is the fourth industrial revolution a risk, a threat, or an opportunity for Africa?
Well, the fourth industrial revolution is around the corner already.
Yes.
And we have to deal with it. And the starting point to deal with it is to want to maximize the benefits it may have for society.
Yes.
At the same time, you want also to say, well, are there dangers that you have and risks that you have to take care of? Then you also have to study that. And people then will say, these are the benefits, these are the dangers, and let's maximize the benefits and minimize the dangers.
Yes.
So I think through engagement and connecting with one another, we shall be able to say, well, these are the risks, and this is the best way to deal with the risks. So I think it's a good thing. The fourth industrial revolution, like many other revolutions that have happened before, they have come with benefits, they have come with risks and dangers that people have to deal with. But above all, I want to say Africa hasn't been very successful with the previous previous revolutions.
Yes.
And this one, the fourth, I think we should not be left behind, as well as we need to be thinking of what we haven't done properly or what will not benefit from to the maximum from the previous one. So we are really having to deal with two stages at the same time. The previous one, the third revolution, and the fourth. So we are in between and making sure that we still have to fill the gaps that may exist in both.
Okay. Thank you. So for you, it's a good thing. It's an opportunity.
It's a good thing.
Now, do you think we can do it? Is Africa ready?
It's been ready. I think we should be better off if we are ready, and I think we are. And what does it really mean? When you are talking about fourth industrial revolution, you are talking about these fast developing new technologies.
Yes, yes.
And you are talking about those technologies in fusion with industrial production.
Yes.
Which is meaningful to economies and so on and so forth.
Yes, yes.
So, and we have seen already that some gaps are being filled, much as worries are being created.
Yes.
But again, as I said, there are more things to benefit, I guess, than the worries we should be having about it.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. All right, I can see loads of questions. I want to thank everybody. We have Bele Fontaine, who's asking a question. Bele is asking, what policies would best foster productivity growth and intra-regional trade in Africa?
Well, we need, first of all, the hardware and software issues to deal with in this case. I think first we need to invest in infrastructure that connect again. It's the roads, it's the very infrastructure that serve as, on which we base and as platforms, and then build to get other things. And then there is the other side, the people, the understanding, the regulatory frameworks, and the policy decisions that actually will allow people, therefore, to benefit building on this infrastructure. So integration is one of those. In terms of decision making, we have to politically understand that is important and support it. And then build in place the kinds of infrastructure that connect the two ends.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you for that question, Billy. We have so many questions. I want to go to Mira next. Mira is asking, how is Rwanda going to contribute to sustainable economic growth and wealth distribution across Africa?
Well, we first have to deal with our own situation, and we've been trying that. We've been trying to make sure, first of all, build peace and stability in the country, and investments in our people, education, health, and skills, you know, that come with education and training, and and also embrace the technologies that are there that support innovations and provide employment and support all kinds of things that we have to do. So we've made good progress in most of these areas, and through integration, which we talked about earlier on, through working with the neighbors and beyond, we share good practices. There are things we learn from our neighbors, from other people across Africa, and I expect that there are many things they maybe learn from what we've done and how we have come to make progress based on that. So this is the way to go. I don't see anything else.
I think that's a fantastic answer. So get your house in order and then share practices and learn from others. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, we also have a tradition of inviting people to send us some love, and we send them love back. So if it's okay, I just want to say thank you from Nuhu. Nuhu said, I congratulate you, Mr. President, not just for Rwanda, but for setting the right path of visionary leadership for all African leaders.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nuhu.
That's kind.
Thank you. All right. He's also dropped in a question, which is very constructive, Nuhu. He's asking, what is your vision for Africa over the next 50 years?
Well, I think 50 years is too long to wait. In fact, I want us to move faster than have to wait for 50 years. But I think Africa needs to get together, work together, share whatever we can share, the best practices you mentioned, and connect Africa to the point that Africans should freely move from one part of the continent to another without
free movement.
Free movement is the key. And then I think we really have a very interesting human resource capacity, which we're not putting to good use. In fact, we find most of this serves the rest of the world more than it does for Africa itself. So I think I'm not talking about not being able to partner with the others, but I'm saying, again, we have to develop Africa and have to build on the capacities we have, and then connect with others to benefit each other.
Absolutely. All right, I want to ask you, you run a country with more women than men in parliament. Now, surely this is not an accident, and I'd like for you to please share with us some of your thinking behind the institutions that you're building.
It's not an accident, and it's a very good thing, because this means we have both men and women working together to develop our country. In the past, of course, there have been disparities where women have been left behind here in Rwanda, like in the rest of the world, I should say. So for us, we've learned from the outset that maybe we need to get the whole society, the whole population, come together, realize the rights of everybody, and make sure that if we harness everybody's capacity and rights, and make a contribution, we are better off than if we kept some people out. Well, for whatever reason, we can't keep them out because they are women, we can't keep them out because they are like this or like that. At the end of the day, with all the difference we may have, we are still Rwandans, and we have a huge common interest of developing together.
Fantastic. So it comes back to the point you made earlier about harnessing the full potential of exactly, of all the citizens.
Yes.
All right, Mahmoud is asking, when can we expect the launch of the Rwanda railway network, as it will facilitate trade?
Hopefully soon. We are working with the neighbors and others in the region. We have the East African region, we have the Northern Corridor, we have the Central Corridor, all coming together on this subject. And studies have been made, and money is being mobilized, and some financing has already been secured, to the point that I see within 1 year we should be able to get started.
All right, very concrete and action-oriented. Please keep the questions coming in, and thank you for joining us. We're at record highs, actually. Please, you're watching Shape the World. This is an open conversation with His Excellency President Kagame, the President of Rwanda. He's taking any and every question, and I'm actually really spoiled for choice. The topic of gender has come back, and Manuel says Rwanda was ranked 6th out of 145 countries in the latest gender gap report from the World Economic Forum. You were number 1 in Africa, and you came only after 4 Scandinavian nations and Ireland. Now he's asking, are there any lessons from your efforts in gender equality that, Your Excellency, that you would like to share? Any nuggets that you would like to share?
Well, some of the lessons are self-evident. I think when they talk about that ranking,
yes,
that is a lesson that should be learned. And the ranking is not, again, meaningless. It has a lot of meaning.
Yeah.
It means how much you have brought women in the mainstream to
yes,
make sure that the country is building itself on the basis of all citizens, including
yeah,
women, and especially when we know the history across the world, even in some places until today. So it's just about inclusion, it's about how that supports development and fast growth and the stability of any country and society. So I think lessons for us, we have learned that we seem to be making very good progress, and again, it's not about miracles,
yeah,
it's not any magic, it's about people just getting together and doing
being
what
inclusive,
they think they should do for themselves by being inclusive indeed.
All right, fantastic. Because the key takeaway, being inclusive. We get many more questions on that topic, but his key takeaway, be inclusive. Everybody can contribute. And I love the other thing he said. He said these reports matter. So look up the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report. Thank you for that, Mr. President. And if you need help, we're here to help. The World Economic Forum, give us a call or a message. Now we have a question from Bosco. Thank you, Bosco. Great question. Bosco is asking that how can Rwanda's own experience contribute to preventing genocide anywhere in the world?
Well, again, it's telling the story as it is.
Yeah.
What brought about that bad story,
Yes,
genocide, and how we are getting out of a bad situation like that
yes,
we are left with because of that. And we work with others. We always want to work with the rest of our neighbors, the whole continent, and I think building stability in a society, making everybody feel they have a stake in that,
yes,
and actually politically doing the right thing and making sure that things like hate speech and other basis of such a
yeah,
dangerous division in a society,
yes,
to the point that they lead to a genocide, should be prevented politically and through other means of making sure that the society starts believing in itself and seeing that they have a bright future by doing the right thing for themselves and together.
Fantastic. Thank you. So lots of work to do there on institutions. It's not easy. Obviously, it takes a lot of time. But removing fear, helping everybody feel that they belong.
Yes.
They're all one people.
And valuing one another and knowing
Yes,
that what is good for you is good for me.
absolutely. And then also helping them to see a bright future ahead that they
Yes,
can all contribute to.
absolutely.
All right. And of course, if you need help, the government of Rwanda will stand by you. So reach out. If any governments out there really want to work on this, they are willing to share best practices. You're getting a lot of questions and a lot of love, and people are asking you questions about their own countries. So they want you to comment on Algeria, Morocco, how can you help
Well, I
them?
have to be very careful
I know.
here.
So we can't take every question, but thank you. Please keep the love coming in. Now, one of the questions that people are asking, and this is, I'm reading from Thanka, thank you Thanka, is this question about running for a term again in 2017. And I want to ask you, the decision to run. Now, is this a decision that was automatic and obvious? Was it an easy decision? And if you can also share with us, what are some of the factors that you considered or thought about as you tried to make this decision?
Right. First and foremost, this was not a personal project,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
That is the starting point. It's something that was arrived at by conversation that took place across the country, from the grassroots
Okay.
to the top. And therefore, we all had to decide which way we go, especially looking at this kind of direction which the conversation was going. And in fact, for everything that happens, whether the constitution, the modification of it, or you see, all these things again come back to the people.
Yes.
It's not about individuals wanting this and then manipulating things, and as long as it is without these manipulations, personalization, and all kinds of things, then it's a healthy thing that any society, any country will and should be able to make decisions for themselves, even if this may shock some people elsewhere, that because that's not what they are used to.
Yeah.
Maybe they are used to something else that also shocks other people, the other things that shock other people in other places. So when you look at the global situation, you know, again, it goes back to the same point. You don't find one place which gets everything perfectly right, and therefore the rest of the world should follow them, and so on and so forth. It's always dynamic. It's always thinking. There are things changing. There are new ideas. So even politics is in the same way. So that's how really this situation of 2017 has come about.
Okay. Thank you. So again, it comes back to the theme of engaging the people. This is not a personal project.
No.
This is something that the collective has come together.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so thank you. We get more questions on that, but I believe, looking at the questions, that they have been covered. We have a question about, do you think that Africa will develop a common currency? And is that a good idea? I'm so sorry I couldn't find your name, but thank you for the question. Please keep the questions coming in. Thank you.
Well, a common currency per se may be very good in one place or another.
Yes.
So, and people have been thinking about it, but they haven't started by saying we should have a common currency for the whole continent.
Okay.
Even in terms of the federation, political federation, people have been thinking about bringing the continent together in such a solid way. We thought the process would be served better by, let's say, looking at sub-regional groupings.
Okay.
And if we succeeded with that, then we can scale it up to the rest of the continent and serve the whole continent.
Yes.
Or even accelerate it, depending on how this has succeeded. So, like in the East African community, we are having 4 stages we have been looking at. It's about customs union, it's the common market we have tried to create, it's about monetary union, and also political federation.
Yes.
We have succeeded well with the first 2, but we haven't done so much, though the intention is there, and we are trying to make sure that we don't make blunders that we, create more negatives than the positives we want from it. So it's a long process, even if it is a good idea, but we have to be careful because we may end up getting more negatives out of it than what you want to achieve.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please keep the questions coming in. We have a question from John Mack. Thank you for the question. John is asking, who is your role model in life? Now, I find this is a very personal question. So, if you're willing to share, I'm sure there's more than one. Maybe if you're willing to give us at least one of the role models.
No, strangely, I want to answer this by saying I've learned more from situations than from just particular individuals.
Okay.
But there are great people out there, absolutely, in any part of this world, whether Africa, Europe, Asia, America, and so on. You'll find wonderful people who have emerged and have done good things in their context and even affected the rest of the world. But my upbringing politically has been that of learning from things happening, the problems, the processes and solutions, rather than just saying, well, I will do things like so and so, this and thing like so. That's
Thank you so much. If you allow me to plug my mom, my mother always says that you must learn from the experiences of others, not just your own.
Okay.
So I think that's absolutely spot on. Thank you so much. Now, we talked about experiences and events. 1994 was a very, very difficult year. This was the year of the genocide. It was, I would say, a scar for all humanity. Now, a question about that. What were your biggest fears during that period before you were able to bring stability to the country? And what was your source of strength? What kept you going?
Well, first of all, the situation was so bad. Probably it is the worst situation during that period.
Yes.
Anywhere in this world. And it was so bad that it drove fear out of us. We are no longer afraid of anything because we were in the worst place ever. So we just had to give all ourselves, out there to try and confront what we could and humanly could, which we did. And we stopped being driven by fear or worry or this, and we were just too busy dealing with what was happening every minute, every second, that it wasn't, which was a good thing, because maybe if we had been so worried and fearful of this and that, maybe we would have got lost in that. So, but in fact, immediately after that, when we stopped the genocide and we were trying, so that's when you start worrying about this, when am I able to put this in place, when am I, so that life starts all over again. Because there's a point in 1994 when life here in Rwanda stopped. So we had to reboot living for many people. So, and so when life is being lived the way it should, or in search of proper living as should be, that's when worries, fear, you start fearing, oh, can this take us back to such a terrible situation, or what am I going to do tomorrow to make sure that life continues and it gets better. So it was that kind of complex situation we were in.
Thank you. And if I can ask, was there a source of continuous strength?
The source of continuous strength was that we found and saw and believed that the solution had to come from us, ourselves, and that the alternative is unthinkable. The alternative of not finding a solution is unthinkable. That means we would have all perished and followed the others who had left before us, which shouldn't have been. So that pressure of saying that I must do something, and after all there is no alternative, or the alternative is far worse than if I did nothing or really didn't pay so much attention to this. So, and then later on, that is supported by when you have tried and made a step forward and you see progress, then you get even more encouraged. So, you know what? After all, we have discovered we have something in us to really keep kicking us forward, make us keep going. So then we capitalize on that and keep going, and more progress brings more progress and gives more energy, and that's how it works.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I could feel the energy. I don't know if you could too. Strength from within. Thank you so much. We have a question here from Nuruddin Haruna Idris. Thank you, Nuruddin. And the question I'd like to actually expand. We have a lot of young people watching. What is your wish for young people? If you had to share a wish with them, what is your wish for young people?
You know, when you are young, young people themselves have aspirations.
Yes.
There are so many things they want to do, they love doing, and so on and so forth. So they should live that kind of life, of aspiration, of wanting to do something. Second, the young people should know that trying to do something for yourself and maybe for society or for your families starts early.
Okay.
You don't have to wait for another day, Start there, and then when it comes to your mind that you can actually do it.
Yes.
And of course also, there are many things out there that can divert young people's attention from doing the very things for themselves that make sense, or even for society. And they can easily waste time at that stage. So my appeal to them, my wish for them is that they can have fun as much as the young people should, but they can also have a moment when they have serious reflection of saying, you know, I mean something for myself, I mean something for my society, and go ahead and do what they think is useful.
Fantastic. All right, we are out of time. I want to thank you, Your Excellency. I want to invite you, if you have any final words you want to leave the audience with, so we can close the show. Is there any final words? We have a public from everywhere. The whole world is watching.
The final word is that this conversation has been wonderful, and I thank you for inviting me and for even ever thinking of having such a platform for offering such a conversations, and wish the best everybody, and thank you for coming to Rwanda.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and thank you for watching. You have really curated a great conversation. Questions were yours. If you're watching this after the show, please leave your comments, because it will actually help us to all shape the world. Thank you very much.